A lot of people told me my aviation adventures in India would be incomplete without experiencing this aircraft. I packed my bags and left to experience this one of a kind flight. I was extremely excited about what the experience would hold for me, but at the same time, I was slightly skeptical about it turning out to be a total disaster. After a long journey, I finally made it to my flight. Like I always board most of my flights, I stepped on the aircraft only to be surprised in the disaster that it was in. With no welcome on board by any flight attendant, I turned to the right to see the empty business class in a 2-2 config in a dilapidated state. Delighted that business class passengers weren't any better, I headed straight to my class where I was immediately hit with a ton of karma. Walking to the rear, these burned out, faded lilac colored seats in a 3-3 config gave me some really harsh stares, some of which were broken while some of them didn't exist at all. After settling down in my seat and thanking that I was very close to the emergency exit, I began my normal seat review. The seat back was plain and had the upholstery falling down while my seat had no tray tables. The overhead panel felt too sturdy and I felt if I touched it, either my finger or the panel would fall. To complete my review, I sat in another seat to check the tray tables, which worked miraculously fine. Lucky me, there was nobody to object me changing seats, but there was nothing to eat either. One of the upsides of having an empty flight is nobody gets offended and you can take shots as and where you like. The windows are like the ones you had on the old 737s, same like the overhead storage compartments, which sent me in a state of fear and nostalgia at the same time. I ran up to the galley to ask the flight attendants to turn on the AC, but since I found nobody, I just decided to open all the doors to let in some fresh air. Soon enough, I realized the cockpit was deserted too. Now, on a general flight, the international regulations do not permit common passengers like me to get inside. But since this was one special experience, the cockpit welcomed me with open arms, only with the absence of any human presence. As a person who's never seen a cockpit from inside, the biggest treat was this control column, while some of the other controls worked and others didn't. I played with as many as I could. I mean, they never let me film the galley. There was nobody to intrude here. Ha! Stuck on that mean flight attendants. I also took the liberty of showing myself the business class. Should I ever decide to book business class on this plane, I would know beforehand what it would feel like. Not that after experiencing it, I'd wish to fly in it anytime soon, but then again, it was the rebelliousness that intrigued me. While the overhead panel here felt slightly better, I was sure by now nobody would turn up if I did decide to press the call button. This has to be the most intriguing lavatory that I've ever visited. Transparency and openness to passengers to the max level. Only if all airlines were this honest about what goes in the running of an airline. There was only one lavatory that was trying to put up a fake brave picture, but I'm sure it'll learn soon from its colleagues. Now that it was time to depart, I understood that as the only passenger on board, I had an obligation to close the door, and there was absolutely no urge to prove that I could close an aircraft door after watching all the flight attendants struggling to do it on social media. After playing a little with the ambience and enjoying the beautiful greenery outside, it's time to do the face reveal, or should I say airline slash aircraft reveal. If you haven't guessed it by now, this is SRR's Boeing 737, maybe dash for something ancient times aircraft number, which is on display in a small village close to Mumbai. The aircraft overshot Mumbai's runway 27, after which it was written off. After multiple failed attempts of different parties to acquire it, it finally landed here next to a resort, exactly between Lonavala and Mumbai. The tailplane of the little baby is destroyed, while the flaps and ailerons seem to have been deliberately removed. The place has its own staircase, which allows you to board the plane. The two kind men will help you out at a price of 100 rupees per person. The aircraft's fuselage is in such a bad condition that even if you fitted it with engines and an undercarriage, it would fail its takeoff due to the pathetic friction it would have with air. The pitot and static pressure tubes have all been removed, and while the aircraft stands in despair, it is a beautiful memory of the Indian aviation in 2000s. A piece of aviation still in time. I'm not sure how long they're gonna keep it here, but if you'd like to visit, I'll leave the details underneath. Thanks for watching.